It's Pumba and Dalek. I think I'm gonna just
Been a while.
Just a bit. I mean, nearly a year and a half, I think, since a proper episode.
So welcome back to Dem Drunk Blokes Talk Shite.
Yes, that's what.
Is it shite or shit?
Shite, shit, shoot, shit, whatever. I don't know. We might even rebrand and say deep, meaningful, philosophizing, flossing conversations.
I kind of like philosophical. Sounds like it might be a lyric from Cats. Philosophical cats.
The wonderful philosophical cat.
Jellicle cats are philosophical cats, and genital cats.
I take it you've seen the new Cats film then?
I have seen the new Cats.
And what's your review?
I liked it just fine.
Yeah?
But it is fucking terrifying.
Why, what's wrong with it?
Before we start that, shall we enlighten the viewers as to what Jellicle cats actually means? Because I haven't seen this discussed anywhere.
Well, go on in. Well, I'm all ears.
T.S. Eliot's little niece used to say, dear little cats and poor little dogs. But because she was very small and had a speech impediment, she used to say jellicle cats and poor little dogs. And Eliot wrote the poem Jellicle Cats and Poor Little Dogs for her. I think that was the basis for him writing a whole book of this bollocks.
Yeah. Was it The Curiosities of Cats or something? I can't remember. Have I got it in there somewhere?
There's a lot wrong with it. I think the uncanniness of the CGI has been somewhat overstated in the press just for clickbait articles. But there are definitely a great deal of things that make you go, me!
Can you make that noise again?
For example, the Rebel Wilson character, Jenny Anydots, the old Gumby cat in the original book.
Right.
In the original book, she's kind of like the nice, dear old lady cat who's nice to everyone and looks after the mice and the cockroaches in the house rather than hunting them. And she's trying to turn them into productive citizens rather than just killing them. But in the movie, she's Rebel Wilson, and the joke is that she's fat and she eats things. And she eats the cockroaches, and the cockroaches have human faces.
No.
And why, oh God, why? And she does this thing where she's a cat, right? And she has fur, but she unzips the fur and she's wearing clothes under the fur, and she has fur under those clothes. I don't understand how the rules work. Don't understand how the rules work, Pumba.
That just sounds terrifying. That's something out of like
She does it several times, and it never gets any more comfortable to watch.
I must go and find it and give it a watch. I mean, I know it got slated and didn't really do well, but it sounds entertaining.
It's worth a watch. If you like the original, you'll... Actually, I know a lot of people who liked the original who thought that the movie was shite. I never really liked the musical, and I speak as somebody with a shameful Andrew Lloyd Webber phase in their... But it's goofy, it's stupid, it's fun. I can't remember who said this on YouTube, but the thing about the musical is they do tend to be very goofy and otherworldly, but there's an element which affects your suspension of disbelief, and that is that you are up close and personal with the performance, and you can appreciate these actors nailing the songs, nailing the dance movements in the moment, you know.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it doesn't look like it's taken 1,000 takes. It looks like they're actually doing the performance as it was on stage.
Yeah. I think it's perfectly plausible that Cats was simply never meant to be consumed as a movie.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one for, like, the round open stage version they did. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, the what Starlight Express?
Yeah, they used that stage set, but they did cats on it, and they ran through the audience to start into the middle. So everything started behind you and walked around you.
Yeah,
I did
that was
go
the
and see
Young
that.
Vic, wasn't it?
What's that?
The Young Victoria.
Yeah.
That's where I saw Starlight Express. Idris Elba plays McCavity the Mystery Cat, and he's a cat with fur, but he wears a fur coat. I don't understand the rules, Pumba.
Yeah, but if it's something else's, we wear skin, but we wear leather coats. So,
And then later on, he takes the coat off, and oh God, I had heard people complaining about Elba being naked in this film, and I thought, well, surely they're being disingenuous about it on purpose for attention. You know, he's a cat with fur. He can't be naked. But oh God, once he takes that coat off, Idris Elba is really, really naked. It like hits you on a visceral level.
what timestamp was that you paused that many times?
That's the end of the movie. Oh, and Ian McKellen is Gus the theatre cat, and he is just perfect because Ian McKellen is Ian McKellen,
and he's perfect.
he's a fucking national treasure. But the whole time he is doing his song, Dame Judi Dench is giving him the sex eyes and declining and spreading her legs and scissoring the air in slow motion.
No, this just sounds wrong.
Oh, my jellicle eyes.
No.
So yeah, that movie happened, and it cost about $200 million jellicle dollars, $100 million to promote it, and it looks like it might make about 70 worldwide.
Ah, well, the studio's going to buy it, but I think everyone had fun making it, surely.
I think it might be a sleeper hit for them long term. I can see this becoming the new Rocky Horror.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. That would be interesting. Like, my kids growing up and going, have you ever seen this?
Oh, God, do not show your kids cats. Really do not. Like, everyone in it is weirdly horny. Which is strange, because that's not what happened on stage.
Well, it's like the cat furries in Comic-Con. If you've ever been to London Comic-Con, they have like a furry pile-up in the middle. That's just very, very strange. Walking past that, I'm going to buy some comics. Hang on a minute, I've got to watch what's going on over here.
You get sentenced to that, by the way, in furry.
All right.
The jury is you get like put in furry court for making a inappropriate Sonic OC, and the jury is like, OC done steal, and the judge says, I sentence you to 15 years in the fur pile.
Was that another hobby of yours back in the day then, Dalek, like being a furry?
But I do know plenty of them.
I'm not surprised.
I have never fallen so far as to being a furry.
As of
Thank
yet.
you very much. Jojo is my religion.
Ah, yes, the old Jojo.
Hurry up and give us Jojo Part 6, you bastards.
I've
heard that they're still gauging reactions on Part 5 to see whether they're going to animate Part 6, which sounds to me very much like COVID. Please don't make us animate it. Oh, God, please don't. I mean, if you think about the animation in the show so far, the first two parts are pretty much standard fight anime stuff.
Yeah.
And then Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, the big power in that is the world, which stops time. And that's an animator's dream, because you have to animate less rather than more.
Yes.
And then Part 5, Golden Wind. The big iconic power in that is King Crimson. Oh no, Part 4 Diamond is Unbreakable. You've got what's it called? The Queen thing, Killer Queen, which makes things explode. Fair enough, that's easy enough to animate. Part 5, you've got King Crimson, who cancels your actions basically. It's like your actions happen locally for you, but your packets never reach the server.
Right.
And that's easy enough to animate. Part 6, Stone Ocean. The main character's power, Stone Free, makes them turn their whole body into string. And I'm visualizing this being animated. And all I can think of is, oh God, look at all this money! And even if they do get all of this shit animated, you know what their reward for that, waiting on the other side of that, is?
What's that?
Fucking Steel Ball Run. Almost every fight is on horseback.
Oh. Yeah, no, they're not. Well, it depends
The
on
animator is like crying under a desk right now.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, if they think it's going to make enough money, if the animator thinks he's going to get enough money for it, he'll do it. But the JoJo thing is still not as mainstream as JoJo fans would like it.
True that.
So what else you been up to, Dalek? I mean, it's been years. Like, years.
Got a new phone.
Oh, what phone you got?
First time in my life I actually bought a phone on release. The Nokia Flip 2720.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's a clamshell flip phone with smartphone functionality.
So, as I thought...
It does YouTube, it does Twitter, it does Facebook, it does WhatsApp, and it's a 4G hotspot, but it's also a little 1990s clamshell phone by Nokia, so the battery life is incredible and it's completely indestructible.
Fucking hell, I must have a look into it. I just moved over to Sony phones. I'm kind of regretting it.
Yeah, I tried that. I like the phone, but the support is bullshit.
Yeah, well, it sort of it over confuses itself and like just turns itself off every now and then. It's not great.
What else did I do? I did my first ever Dark Souls speedrun, 3 hours 15 minutes. Thank you very much.
Yes, we've got that. We've linked that. If you follow our Twitter, you can see Dalek's run, and obviously if you follow Dalek, you would have seen.
Had an epic argument on Twitter with Logan about trans rights. That was amusing.
Logan has gone to, shall we say, his own place. He appears when he wants to, and otherwise longs everybody off. He's gone into his own little bubble at the moment. But as the rules are, no politics on the show, no politics, no religion, so move on.
I had a KFC vegan burger.
And?
Upsettingly, it tastes exactly like the regular chicken.
Oh no, what is the world coming to?
It's a little bit more mushy, but yeah, it does taste exactly like KFC chicken, which I should be happy about because, you know, I'm not a vegan, but I'm also of the opinion that if you can eat something that tastes exactly the same, which is 10 times healthier, then why wouldn't you do it? But it also makes me worry about what's in the actual chicken.
Yeah, as you said, it's healthier. I mean, whatever they use to make it taste the same way couldn't possibly be good for drainage. Okay, you can edit
what
that
else?
out.
Oh yes, Monster Hunter Generations on the Switch. I gave that a shot.
Yeah, I got the demo for it. Still haven't been able to have time to play it, unfortunately.
6 different movesets. Wow.
Wow, the next
There's
one.
like a basic Monster Hunter moveset. There's a style that gives you like Dark Souls style parry and riposte gameplay, where if you for instance dodge at the very last possible second, you get access to a special move.
Okay.
My favourite is aerial style. Aerial style replaces your dodge roll with a kind of like tumbling jump. And if you hit a monster with it, you backflip into the air over the monster. And if you've got a gun, you do a reload while you're backflipping and land with full ammo.
That's epic. That's like John Wick style Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So yeah, those are some things what I did do with my body parts. What about you?
Well, you missed out since we've been offline, really. We did a 24-hour stream that you carried us all the way through.
I was asleep for half of it.
Well, you carried us through the beginning bit, which had mattered, otherwise we'd just constantly die. What have I been doing? Working like a pig, which is ironic considering who I work for. Then working some more. Oh, I went back to Dragon Meat. You know, the fabled Dragon Meat. I went on my own this time. And
Had they erected gun emplacements?
no, but they don't sell spirits anymore behind the bar. I went and met up with the Free T RPG podcast and tested a RPG that they wrote, a tabletop RPG that they wrote. That was fun. And most recently, I've been playing Death Stranding, and I completed it yesterday.
That's a lovely game. I haven't completed it. I don't think I ever will. It's just like it's like Skyrim. It's one of those games that I'm not actually fussed about completing. I just like dip into it when I'm feeling in the mood, and it's lovely. It's like sinking into a nice hot bath for a bit.
I got it into my head that I needed to rebuild the whole road system, so I did that in chapter 2. But I haven't even opened up the entire world, and I was just wandering around building roads, and I found it really, really relaxing. And then
it is a very relaxing game.
It got to a point where I was like, I really should find out what the story's all about. And the ending is, I'm not going to say it's clever, because I kind of called it, but it's an emotional roller coaster, to say the least. And yesterday I was in a bit of limbo to like what I was going to do after I finished it. I was like, this is a bit weird.
Good game.
Definitely. Go out and give it a go.
So, what else has been happening lately? Ricky Gervais happened.
At the Golden Globes?
Globes.
Yes. Yeah.
What did you make of all that then?
Crying for fame. Made some points. Interesting reaction from people in the crowd. Sort of that half laughter with him, half that get this cunt off of the stage. But overall, it made the headlines. That's what they wanted. I mean, the viewing into award shows recently has been terrible. So obviously to make it.
He's there to get bums on seats.
Yeah, exactly.
If people don't watch that first 10 minutes, then they're not going to watch it.
Exactly.
I've got very mixed feelings about Ricky Gervais, because on the one hand, I think his like tentpole material, like Derek and The Office and Life's Too Short, is amazing, just fantastically funny. But like outside of his work, he just tends to act like a fucking ignorant hack.
Yeah, no, he's a bit of a cock. I've always said that.
I don't know why he has to use his platform to pick on minorities and then go, oh, it's all just a joke. Can't you take a joke? Like, no, mate, you're far too intelligent to think that you can, like, go out there and say what you like about people and go, oh, it's just a joke. Well, nothing's ever just a joke.
Oh, dear, if you don't believe in that, then don't listen to this podcast. Fucking hell. But
oh, no, I can still not give a shit.
But he always has been, even since his early days of when he was just coming up, he's an arrogant little shit. And he reminds me of people I went to school with that was like the class clown, but were doing it to be spiteful to everyone because that was their platform. Like, they couldn't stand socially with anyone else. So they'd make a load of jokes and just be a cunt about it. And that's sort of what I imagine that's what them people grew up into, a Ricky Gervais style-esque person.
I mean, personally, I thought the Golden Globes routine was excellent. Really solid piece of work.
The opening,
But then you got this, like, these cunts on Twitter on the right saying, like, OMG, Ricky Gervais totally stuck it to the liberal Hollywood elites. Watch the liberals' heads explode as they get owned. It's like, oh yeah, Hollywood celebrity who literally never shuts up about politics tells other Hollywood celebrities to shut up about politics in return for money. Well, call out the instigator because the fucking revolution's here.
Again,
sad lack of irony.
It is what it was, and it was what it is. But we're not going down the road of who was offended by what and what was offensive. It was a good routine. As I said, it was a cry for attention or fame, and he got paid for it. And blah, blah, blah. And he'll probably be back next year to do the same thing.
He says it's his last one.
He says it, doesn't he? But, that wallet empties and he goes, I haven't done anything.
Do you know what a cargo cult is?
A cargo cult?
Yes.
No.
I learnt this week. Bear with me, because this is a fun one. You're going to like this. Right, so the US has got a military base in Okinawa.
Yeah.
That they use as a staging point for various operations in Asia.
Yep.
Well, there are various places where the tribes are quite primitive. And they saw the Americans doing airdrops. And they got the idea that there were these things in the sky that, like, drop food and supplies and things.
Okay, I'm getting it.
And they started making their own airports and runways, like beating out a runway and lighting fires on either side of it. And they build a control tower out of wicker, and they have a guy sitting in there with wooden headphones on. And they do these ceremonies where they stand mimicking the movements that people do with the luminous sticks on the runway where they're guiding a plane in. And it still carries out to this day. Some people have figured out since then that what they're actually doing, and they just do it for fun. These are cargo cults.
Wow, I think I've got to incorporate that in a modern Call of Cthulhu scenario.
And yeah, so cargo cult has since become a byword for when you are doing everything right with a process, but you have crucially misunderstood one vital factor, like what the operating factor is. They're doing everything right, they've got a control tower, they've got a runway, and they're doing the make the planes land dance, but the planes aren't landing.
Yeah, I can see that. I know a few people that do things like that.
Remember, the whole country is doing it at the moment. Legally great again. Where we used to run the world, and now
shut
we're
up,
going
politics.
to say that we can. Point being, yeah,
this is not a platform.
So yeah, that's cargo culting. I really like that.
Yeah, no, I've got ideas floating around in my head about that. That's quite fun.
Silent Hill is back.
Is it? I thought they ended that with PT.
All the news that's fit to make you say fuck Konami. Yeah, they're. I can't imagine that this isn't in any way related to the fact that the PT team are now making their own horror game independently.
Okay, so they're trying to jump back in on the action.
Yeah, Kojima Productions are going to be making their own horror game with the team that would have made Silent Hills.
Oh, nice. That should be interesting.
Konami have responded by announcing 2 new Silent Hill titles. One of a survival horror game, and the other a Telltale style episodic adventure. Again, it's the cargo cult. We're
going to do everything.
Got the Silent Hill name, and they can put the rusty wheelchairs and Pyramid Head and the sirens in it, but the planes aren't going to land. They'll probably fucking end up making Silent Hill survive.
Did you ever actually play that?
I played the demo.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I've watched it being played by my brother-in-law, and it was just like,
You know.
nah.
Blizzard's in trouble again.
Oh, what they done now?
I know. What you say? Are you suggesting that good guy Blizz has in some way upset people? I shall have to ask you, sir, to step outside. I'm not even kidding about the good guy Blizz thing. Do you remember a couple of years ago when Overwatch came out and they could do no wrong?
Yeah, because Overwatch is fucking awesome. What do you think of Overwatch 2? Hang on, we might be going too far forward, but...
I haven't played it. I kind of mobered myself out with Arena of Valor. So, yeah. Monster Hunter? No, but what am I looking at? I'm looking at the wrong notes here.
We were talking about with your notes.
Blizzard. I know. It's almost as if we just get drunk and talk shit.
Well, normally that's what I do. You come with the notes.
Change the title of the show to reflect that in some way.
So maybe we should do one drunk bloke with notes.
What? Warcraft. That's it. Warcraft. They've just remastered Warcraft.
Oh yeah, Warcraft 3. I used to love that game.
Yeah. So the surface of the story is that people are upset because they expected something else, because Blizzard put out trailers in which they displayed the game as something else. Good. And there's also been some controversies where Blizzard are reportedly banning people for sharing information on how to get a refund.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that, Blizzard. Surely you know that hasn't worked for years. But the thing that nobody's talking about, the thing that I really like about this situation, the real spicy meatball at the heart of the spaghetti, is somebody went through the EULA and there's a whole paragraph in there, a whole section detailing about how if you create a mod for the game in any way, then Blizzard owns your work in perpetuity.
What? They can't do that?
Who's going to tell them that?
Fucking hell, some little Chinese kid that wins a competition or something, I don't know. No, you can't, no.
Well, you said
the
this
whole...
was a platform.
It's not. Well, it is a platform, we all know that, but we redact all offensive politics. Fuck me, I've drunk too much. We redact all political views. No, we don't. Oh, fuck off, who cares?
Joke's on you, mate. I'm editing this one.
Yeah, I know. That's going to come out well. Right.
I'll be splicing the anthem of the European Union into this one.
Yeah, you got to give it to me.
Actually, you know what? I'll just fucking sing it. Freude schöne Gott der Funken auf der Elysium. Okay, I've got it out of my system now. I'll behave.
What are the words of that? They're going to Elysium.
Freude schöne... Well, how does it go? Freude schöne Gott der Funken. Gott der Funken is God Sparks. Guess Heavenly Sparks. Tochter auf Elysium is Daughter of Elysium. Feuer Duncan, Himmlich der Heiligtum. Drunk on fire, we're going to heaven. That's Beethoven's Ode to Joy.
There's a plane crashing into my back garden by the sounds of it. One sec.
I thought you said we weren't talking about religion. Oh.
It's just the guys that patted down my back garden, built a tower, and are wearing coconut shells as headphones. They're just calling in the local Southend Express fucking Airways thing.
And the planes landed after all. Talk about some television.
Television?
You seen Picard yet?
No, I have not. I'm waiting for Picard to be done, and then they're going to binge the lot.
I see. I like weekly things more than that, because it just feels nicer to go along and have something to talk about a little bit every week, and you can just, your conversations are richer for it because you can visualize clearly what happens. Whereas if you shotgun a whole series at once, it's can't. Yeah, what episode's that? Did that happen in this episode or this episode?
Yeah, I get what you mean, but you got to realise the way I'm consuming things at the minute is any spare moment and that I've got an hour, then me and the missus will watch it together. Or if I've got a couple of hours, we'll watch it together, and I don't talk to anyone else. So it's fuck them. I want to consume it my way.
Oh well, it's a change from consuming things that's up your conch. You see, yeah, we won't go into Picard today because you haven't seen it. But yeah, it's very good. Very, very, very good.
Have you seen The Mandalorian?
That was next on my show notes, actually.
There you go. Look, telepathic.
Telepathic cats.
Yeah, no, The Mandalorian. That was interesting. And then The Witcher came out, and that was also interesting.
Yeah, I've actually got a Funko Pop of IG-11 on my desk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the missus bought it for me.
Nice.
And I returned the favour by buying her one of Inigo Montoya.
Yeah, okay. Prepared today. Funko Pops, that's another thing that's sort of rise to fame, right? So
I hate them. I hate them. I
Do you
really
though?
do. They're like, I want a thing of this thing, but I literally cannot afford to put any effort into its acquisition whatsoever. Having said that, I do own 2 of them.
I've got loads.
Because sometimes you just see one in the shop of something you never thought
Would be a pop.
would be merchandise, and you've just got to have it. And I swear that like a large percentage of their revenue must come from these moments of weakness. I've got one on my bookshelf, which is Guillermo del Toro holding the Necronomicon.
Oh no, that sounds awesome.
It is awesome.
I want one.
It's like, yeah, I fucking hate these things, but yeah, I'm gonna have that.
Oh, speaking of the Necronomicon and all things mythos, the new Nicolas Cage film just come out.
Oh my god, it's amazing!
Have you seen it?
I've seen it, yes.
Oh wow, because apparently it sets the stage for a whole mythos sort of universe.
No, it's completely self-contained.
Oh, is it? Bollocks. That's what I heard anyway.
The Colour Out of Space is an interesting one. It's one of Lovecraft's least known stories, probably because it doesn't actually have any mythos characters in it, or mythos monsters.
There's
just
Shoggoth in it, technically.
No, there's not. It's just a colour. The Call of Cthulhu rulebook refers to them as star vampires,
That's it.
but it's just a colour. It was a colour out of space, and now it's going home. There's nothing to it except this colour that fucks everything up. And when I heard that his most subtle and underappreciated work was being turned into an incredibly gory horror movie starring Nicholas Not the Bees Cage, I thought, this is going to be a fucking disaster. They are going to miss the point so badly. It's goddamn near flawless.
But the director's the guy that hasn't directed it since the last Island of Dr. Monroe, right? And that was terrible.
Dr. Monroe. Yeah, well, directors are no guarantee of anything. George Lucas directed Caravan of Courage.
I've
But
never
Tom
seen
Hooper directed Cats. If I was him, I'd be worried that they were going to take his Oscar back.
Sorry, you can't have this anymore, come.
Like, Men in Black are going to turn up on his doorstep and go, "This is why you can't have nice things." But yeah, it's just gorgeous. It's visually gorgeous. The storytelling is great. The way in which it's the family's descent into madness is portrayed is surprisingly realistic. Like, once the colour starts getting into everything...
Yeah. Well, because there was a German version in the 90s. You seen that one?
I haven't seen that.
So that one's filmed in black and white, and the colour creeps in, and that's how it's portrayed.
Oh, I like the sound of that. I'll have to hunt that down.
I think it's on Amazon at the moment.
Nicolas Cage freaks out in this famous, well, not really famous, because no fuckers read it, but the famous scene in the book where the harvest all comes out all succulent and ripe and enormous, but they taste like shit. And he freaks out and throws everything in the trash, like full on Nicolas Cage turned up to 11 freaking out.
Nice.
And his wife works from home, and the colour's fucking up all the electronics, and she's hemorrhaging clients because she can't get Skype to work.
That sounds like me.
And she like screams at him to get the router fixed. The youngest kid is just like hanging out by the well, talking to his new friend, and the attention-seeking emo daughter is cutting herself. But the thing is, these are all ways in which these people would react. This isn't blowing your sanity check in a, you turn the corner and see some Cthulhus. Make a sanity check for each Cthulhu.
Yeah, it's the slow build-up of, say, sanity dropping.
The parents reacting like this is a realistic way in which adults having control of their lives taken away from them and being frustrated at being unable to provide for their family. That's a realistic reaction. An imaginative little boy trying to sort the strangeness of the situation in his head with the use of imaginary friends. That's a realistic reaction. An emo goth daughter starting cutting herself, that's what emo goth teenage daughters do. There's no... It's not the case that there's this alien thing that makes people go crazy. They're going crazy because they're scared and confused and isolated. And it's just wonderful. Just go watch it. The Colour of Space, starring Nicolas Cage. Absolutely the best movie of the year. Oh, wait, we're like less than weeks into it.
Yeah, I was going to say. That's a bold statement right now. But yeah, I'll definitely go and check it out.
The Witcher you mentioned.
The Witcher.
So I can assume that you have tossed a coin to your Witcher.
I fucking hate that song.
I tell you what, I've got Henry Cavill. I'd toss a coin to him.
I bet you would, son. But he...
well, you would.
So, the problem with The Witcher was they tried to, what they should have done, in my opinion, and not being an expert writer or anything else, is just do the first book, The Last Wish. Every chapter's a different story, all leading up to the bit where the Djinn and Geralt and Yennefer are connected, and so on. Mentioning Ciri, mentioning everyone else all the way up to it. But they tried to throw in, book 2 over the top, and it just made it a bit like, you've stretched, or you've tried too much in one go. You had enough material just to do a monster a week, a story a week, get everyone into all the characters, and then do an overarching story, like most TV series do.
Yeah, there's a very interesting point about that, because Sapkowski famously fell out with CD Projekt Red.
Well, he sold it to him for $1,000.
Yeah. They basically came to him and said, can we make a video game of The Witcher? And he was like, video game? What's that? That's dumb. You're dumb. Whatever. And CD Projekt Red, turned it into one of the most beloved intellectual properties in the world. So he doesn't like them, even though the game is, practically slavish to detail. In regard to the books, whereas the TV series isn't, but he likes that one because he's getting paid for it.
Oh, but he doesn't. I heard an interview with him, was it last week? And he was like, it's good, but it's not right. I get from the Polish people I work with who actually read the books as their that's their fantasy book. They send me every bit of news. So apparently, there's a sword company in Poland now that are making Witcher swords. They used to sell 200 a year. They've now gone up to 10,000 orders.
It's not surprising. Here's a quick question for you. How many Witcher games are there?
5.
5?
5.
Then you know of one that I don't know about.
So there's the Queenbreaker. There's the point and click Witcher, which was the first one done... So CD Projekt Red did The Witcher, Witcher 2, Witcher 3, and then there's the Queenbreaker, or whatever it's called. And then
I thought it was Thronebreaker.
Thronebreaker, that's it.
Yeah. But yeah, I was really surprised to learn of the existence of that, because they made an intensely plot-based war game that uses Gwent as its fight mechanic.
Oh yeah, then there's the Gwent games.
In which you have moral choices, but doing the right things often means that you will lose some of your best cards.
Which is basically the world of The Witcher. It's like,
and it fucking bombed. I'd never even heard of it until today. Hamish Black, Writing on Games, did a video on it.
Oh, right.
And I was astonished. It's like, how's there any justice in the world if that bombs?
Well, to be fair, like there's The Witcher fans that are getting into it now because of the film, the TV series. There was a Polish TV series before that, which is basically a carbon copy of what's out now. You had Witcher 2 and Witcher 3, which were quite popular. Well, Witcher 3 game is the one that made it mainstream popular. But then there was the Witcher 1 game that was run on the Neverwinter Nights engine from BioWare.
I tried to run it on my PC. It's a little bit janky.
Oh, just a little bit.
To be kind.
And you swapped between, like, the sword fighting techniques is you swap between schools. So you've got, like, your fast technique, which is serpent, you've got your medium, which is wolf, and then you've got your heavy hitting, which is bear. And to try and do that on a keyboard, it was just like, no, just stop. And you're using a Neverwinter Night, the original Neverwinter Nights graphics engine, which means that that's designed for a point-and-click style, Baldur's Gate style fighting system, and you're trying to add all this action in. Whatever.
Tra-la-la-la, I'm being a cunt on the radio and nobody can stop me. Doctor Who this week.
Don't watch Doctor Who anymore.
Okay. Fair enough.
How is it going anyway? Because I watched the first two with the Lady Doctor, which was fine. The one person that pissed me off was the black guy, with his like aversion to doing anything, and then like the writing was.
The companions have not been great.
Yeah.
I mean, Bradley Walsh, the man, is a national treasure. But the others, like Clyde, is just like there. And Yasmin is a policewoman. And even when they're on Earth, she never, like, pulls rank or flashes her badge or basically does anything that a policewoman would do. And again, it's just like, why are you here? But, if you want to do a quick whip through the last series, season 11, I would just watch all the historicals, which are Rosa, Demons of the Punjab, and I can't even remember. It was that the last season was very, very boilerplate. But this last one has been a bit of a return to form. Fugitive of the Jadoon was an excellent episode. Harry's Moving Castle, which is now called Harry's Haunted House,
it's called what?
Harry's Haunted House.
But what was it called? Harry's Moving Castle, as in House Moving Castle, or?
Yeah, it used to be called Harry's Moving Castle. Now it's called Harry's Haunted House. Very, very cynical review channel. His show on Doctor Who is called Did It Suck? And after the last couple of Jodie Whittaker episodes, he said that they had 2 more episodes to prove their worth to him, and then he was quitting the show forever. And Fugitive of the Jadoon was the last chance episode for him. And he gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
And I would agree with that. And I'm not going to spoil anything, because it's got like about 5 big wham reveals in it. And you don't want any of them spoiled for you. And the spoilers are fucking everywhere. Fucking Google Assistant told me what happened in this episode. To be helpful. Like a fucking cat bringing you a dead bird expecting you to be happy. Fucking hell, enough of that. Let's talk about some anime, shall we?
Hang on. I want to talk about something else. Going back to old Doctor Who writers, directors. Moffat and his Universal World of Monsters.
Okay.
So did you watch Dracula over the New Year?
I've seen a couple of episodes of it, and I liked what I saw.
The first 2, yeah?
Yeah, I liked the gender swapped Van Helsing.
And she's a nun. That was amazing.
Yeah.
The whole first 2 episodes are fucking crisp. They're old school writing from Moffat and Gatiss. They're very, very good. The 3rd episode falls apart. And the only reason that I wanted it, the way they played it, because do you remember what they wrote a few years back? I say quite a few years back. The Jekyll series.
I've seen clips of it, and it did not delight me.
Right, no, it's actually quite good. But the point is that I thought they was going to do Universal World of Monsters, so they would tie in Jekyll with Dracula, and then maybe next year do a Wolfman, and then like a Frankenstein story, and have it all merged together. They didn't. They bottled out at the end of the last episode and just... It was such a disappointment for what the build-up was.
Well, that's a shame. You know, it's a funny thing. The last 2 Dracula adaptations I've watched have been Moffat's Dracula and Helsing Ultimate, and both of them have female Van Helsings in, who are clearly the best character in the show.
Yeah.
So that's like 2 out of 3 of the best Van Helsings are gender swaps, which may be a perversion on my part, or it might
I was going to say 3.
It could just be that correlation does not necessarily mean mean causation. But can you guess who my 3rd favourite Van Helsing is?
Dracula Dead and Loving It.
No.
I'd have Vincent Price against Christopher Lee.
Nope.
No. Go on then, tell me.
Abraham Van Goosewing in Duckula.
I completely forgot about Duckula. I used to love Duckula when I was a kid.
Yeah, Cosgrove Hall. You can't beat it, man. Did you ever see the season of Doctor Who that they did?
No.
You can probably it was flash animated. You can probably still get it on Tinternet. I think the BBC archived it. It's called Scream of the Schalke, and
1 second.
Richard E.
I was just being reloaded with alcohol.
Lovely. Yeah, it's called Scream of the Schalke, and the Doctor is played by Richard E. Grant.
Oh, I did see a few of those. Or I saw clips of those, I think.
And the hook is that Ace is dead for some reason, and the Doctor blames himself, and he's turned into a broken down alcoholic, and the Master is his companion, played by who would go on to play
with now and I situation.
who would go on to play the Master in The End of Time, I think, End of the Universe, something like that. No, Utopia. And the Master is the only one keeping him on the rails. And it's interesting because this means that both actors in Withnell and I have played the Doctor.
Oh, yeah.
So, anime.
Anime, yes, next section. What are you
Have you heard of Carol and Tuesday?
No.
It's on Netflix at the moment. It is the new show by the creator of Cowboy Bebop.
Oh. There's that live action in the works, right, of Cowboy Bebop?
I would react to that, but I'm not the world's biggest Bebop fan.
No?
I like it, but I don't think it's the second coming of Christ like everyone else does.
Fair enough. Nah, you're probably right. It's not, although it is good.
But yeah, Carol and Tuesday. It is set in the nearish future on a colonized Mars. Carol is a monstrously rich girl running away from home with her guitar.
Oh dear.
And she's like a really talented lyricist. And in the big city, she meets Tuesday, who is a rough, tough street kid living in a converted warehouse space. And Tuesday is a busker who plays the keyboard. And they join forces to become a musical act. And that's pretty much all there is to it, except for the fact that it's a world in which 99% of music is now algorithmically generated by computers.
Okay, so they're like the free spirit of the...
They're sort of like the underdog characters, yeah.
Okay.
They have this. They get headhunted by this skeevy manager, who tells them how he used to manage Bruno Mars and Pico Taro, and they have no idea who these people are. And he says, "Look, I'll put it simply for you. The Beatles needed Brian Epstein. You need me." And they don't know who Brian Epstein was either.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, gorgeous animation, nice characters, good setup. I would definitely give that a go.
I will on my time. I did Assassination Classroom.
Haven't heard of that one.
No, so Killer Sensei is an alien, comes down, he blows up half the moon, comes down to Earth, they try and kill him with all known weapons known to man. They can't kill him. He comes with a peace offering that he wants to teach a down-and-out class in Japan how to be assassins. And then if they can kill him by the end of the term, the year, then he won't blow up the world.
Interesting. So it's sort of like a... I'm getting vibes of Danganronpa.
Yeah, but he's a giant yellow octopus. But it's like... It starts...
Kill, possibly?
It's very, very like... Everyone's going to kill him, and then slowly he becomes like the joke. You know how anime progresses, is like it's so serious, and then it just sort of turns into... They get assassins in from all over the world to join the class. One of them ends up being called Professor Bitch, and she's like she's the honey trap specialist. So she's got her tits out all the time, and she's waddling around. But obviously, it's not working on the octopus, so she don't know what to do. So she becomes a teacher instead. So I've been watching that. Then there was Bongo Stray Dogs. That was quite fun. What else? Obviously Berserk ended, and we're waiting for more fucking manga to be written.
Clang, 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 clang.
Yeah, well, do you want to swing it around a giant sword? Of course it's going to fucking clang. Fucking watch Berserk, it's great. And what was
I think
it?
they'll stick to the manga, thanks there, mate.
Goku Backstreet Dolls. Seen that one?
Not on my radar, no.
It's about 3 Yakuza members that have dishonoured their boss so much that rather than kill themselves, they're going to be turned into pop idols. So they go to Taiwan and they get sex change surgery and then come back as Japanese pop idols.
Pop idols?
Pop idols. But yeah, that's fucking hilarious because they do their thing like, we love you, my fans, and they have like the doll followers, and then they go back and they're all like sitting around gambling with their legs open, drinking sake, like, this is terrible, I'm fucking and fighting with each other. That's quite funny.
Sentenced to become J-pop idols.
Yeah, that was their crime.
The best anime I've seen, and this is a year old now, the best anime I have seen recently is A Place Further Than the Universe.
No.
It's just about a group. It's a Moe show about a group of little girls going to the South Pole. It's adorable. Seriously, not a dry eye in the house by the end of it.
Did you ever see that one about the housewife that thought Fargo was real?
Yeah, I know the story.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was an anime of it.
There's an anime, a live action, there's everything on it. It's mad. That was a bit weird. And have you ever seen Erased?
No.
So there's a guy living his life in 2000 and so. And he keeps having flashbacks to when he was a kid in like the 80s. And there's a serial killer on the loose in the 80s, but he's also on the loose in modern day. And he's jumping backwards and forwards, but with the same memories to try and stop him.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's called
Reminds me of Kamen Rider Kiva, where they would have the story taking place in the 80s and the 2000s at the same time.
Yeah.
because some of the characters were vampires, so they would look the same in both eras. But then the human characters, you would have their son or daughter replacing them in the modern era.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense, but it's not what Erased does.
Okay.
But Erased does. They did a live action, and it was one of them really weird ones. When you watch the anime, the live action is like on point. It actually, because there's no super fantastical fights and all that, it actually correlates really well. Like, you could watch either or and have the same effect.
Have you seen Konosuba or God's Blessings on This Wonderful World?
No.
Well, it's an isekai. You know what that means?
Yeah. No. Go on.
Like Captain N. Guy sucked into a fantasy dimension. Sword Art Online.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. It's an isekai, and the guy gets sucked into a fantasy dimension, and he forms his own party. Only all his party members are terrible. And my favourite character in it is called Darkness. She's the team's paladin, and her job is to get out in front of the party and tank all of the damage.
Right.
But she's into it.
Oh, dear.
Like, she's like really, really uncomfortably into it. Like, when she's being beaten up by the monsters, she's like languishing on the floor going, "Kia, how shameful! Don't look at me like this."
Yeah, no, there's a few. I got the Funimation thing, the Funimation subscription, and I started a few. There was like,
Gotta be better than fucking Crunchyroll.
well, they joined forces, didn't they? Which was annoying. But they did the My Life as a Slime. So
I've heard of that. I've heard very good things about that.
Yeah, it's good, but it's like he gets like in the real world he's like the number one boss of this MMO, and he's killing everyone, and he gets sucked into the MMO, but he goes in as a slime, like the bad guy, level 1 bollocks monster. And it's how he tries to get from that to try to run the whole thing. It's weird.
Sort of like Overlord, but in reverse.
Yeah. And then, what was the other one we watched? Oh, the devil was a part-timer. So there's this whole war going on between devils and angels. And Lucifer gets kicked out and then ends up in, like, backstreets Tokyo. And then gets a job in a 7-Eleven. And then Mossburger. And they're trying to live there just as normal people. But then people from the other realm keep coming in trying to fuck them up.
Sounds entertaining.
That was good. I think that deserved more than it got, but it only got 2 seasons. That's the other thing with anime these days. Is like, you got so much of it, and then it's just like they all end after like 1 or 2 seasons.
Yes, it does feel like a bit of an arms race trying to keep up with the conversation.
Alright, right, let's get off of anime, because anime is too convoluted and there's far too much of it. What you got next on your notes?
Let's talk about Marvel, because we are not very far at all off of Phase 4, I think.
Yeah, 4 to 6.
Yeah, so like Phase 1 was the intro. Phase 2 was the Civil War in the Age of Ultron. And Phase 3 was the Infinity War. And we're now going into Phase 4. Are you excited about any particular properties in this?
WandaVision made me entertained for a moment. I like the fact Blade's
Is it
coming
out?
back. No, it's not yet. It's going to come out on the Disney Plusage.
Yeah, I'll be watching that, certainly. The 2 Marvel movies that I enjoyed most in recent years was Spider-Man and Black Panther. And yeah, I know Black Panther's pretty much a nothing movie. Shut up, I enjoyed it.
That's fine, but mine would probably be Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. And then, Spider-Man. I don't know which one. Either of the Spider-Man films I enjoyed immensely because they were just comedy Oh, and the Ant-Man film, to be fair.
Mysterio in Far From Home,
Yeah.
just perfect. Just absolutely blew my socks off.
Yeah.
I was actually lucky enough to watch the Infinity War Endgame in a theatre in New York.
Yeah?
A bit where they came through the portals at the end. When T'Challa walked through that portal, the whole theatre went fucking nuts. And that was lovely, because that's something we don't really do in Britain. We don't tend to react to movies in the theatre, because we'd be making a scene and people would be looking.
That's true, but it can be annoying. I mean, I watched Get Out in a theatre around the corner from me. I lost half of the film due to people screaming and going, ah!
So yeah, very much looking forward to those. I think the next one we're going to get is Doctor Strange.
Yes, they need to go back on the Strange thing. I mean, the first Doctor Strange film was good. It was really good. Bollocks, okay, so
it blew my mind visually as much as The Matrix did when it was released.
Yeah, and it also had like this whole encapsulated what Doctor Strange is. The thing like they missed out with the Tony Stark story because they built it up from nothingness. Like in Iron Man 2, they had a bit of his drunkenness. They didn't have that full blown I am the one, I am the cunt, and like that should have gone on forever. Whereas with Doctor Strange, because they fitted it into a much smaller time frame, you actually see how he...
Sorry. I'm just imagining the last scene of Endgame now. Only Tony's gravestone just reads, I am the cunt.
Well, it should do, because that's what he was. They changed him so much, but then at the same time kept him...
I might point out that it didn't really encapsulate Doctor Strange. I mean, the original Doctor Strange comic was very psychedelic, whereas the movie was just like more of a summer blockbuster, because everything has to be a summer blockbuster these days.
You don't think it was psychedelic enough, like taking it... I think if they had time to spread that out over more films, but because he's a lesser known character... There's a lot more you can do with Doctor Strange, and they need to actually tap into that. Like him showing up in, was it Ragnarok?
Mm-hmm.
And controlling Thor and Loki as his like playthings. That needs to be explained a lot more, whereas you don't get how powerful the motherfucker is.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same as like Nick Fury just being a fucking angry badass, whereas technically he's a tactitional fucking god. Like, you need to sort of... They hint at it, but if you don't know what they are, you don't see it. If you know what I mean. I don't know. I'm well pissed.
Like Griffith
in
Berserk. How'd the battle go? I am a tactical genius.
I'm an angry bastard with a big stick. Fuck you.
Did nothing wrong.
Did you hear Young Animal started printing more Berserk stories?
I didn't know that, no.
Yeah, so they've gone from episode 40 and he started writing again. I mean, this fucker's been writing since the late 80s, and he takes like 20-year gaps before he starts to write anything else, and he started to write some more shit, which is very entertaining for me.
It's sort of like George Martin, only good. Meow. Jellicle.
Yeah, go back to Jellicle. I would bring it full circle. Have you got anything else to talk about, Dalek?
Well, should we do a bit of house?
I thought a bit of housekeeping is what you were looking for.
A bit of housekeeping, yeah. You can find me at The Voice of Sex on Twitter. I do have a gaming YouTube channel, but I can't really be asked to keep it updated. How about you? Where can people find you?
Right, so not me personally. You know the rest of the network. We've got DDB Presents Catch Up for the Soul, run by Old Lefty. Go and look that up on the YouTube, the Podbeans, there anywhere you can. Obviously find us at Dem Drunk Blokes everywhere. Just type it into Google, you'll see us. We're that famous. The This is
Let's see what we're going to recommend for people who are sick of our shit. I've got a couple of things to recommend. The Super Best Friends shut down last year, and they've been replaced by a podcast called Live from Castle Super Beast, and that has been tremendously entertaining. There is they did a really good episode this week where Pat and Wooly were talking about alien abduction, and Pat was asking Wooly, what would you do if you were like abducted by aliens? And they were like, okay, you're like ants to us, but we're going to eat you because you're delicious. And Wooly said, I would try and become their Silver Surfer. I would be like,
Harold.
I can tell you where all of the juiciest humans are, but I'm going to need super strength, power of flight, boosting abilities. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, don't let Wooly talk to the aliens.
So what was that site called?
Live from Castle Super Beast. You can find it on SoundCloud. The Snack Covenant is still going strong.
Yep, I listen to the Snack Covenant every week, but they're about a year behind on their Podbean subscription, so if you want to listen to what they're talking about right now, it needs to be YouTube.
Yeah, it needs to be YouTube. I'm going to be on there next month talking about Silent Hill.
Is that on YouTube or is that on Podbean?
That'll be on the YouTubes.
All right, I'm still waiting for your last episode to show up on the Podbean. Right, so let's end this properly. Dalek, where can they find you?
I just told them.
Did you? All right, I will stop that then. So this is the first introduction to 2020 of the Dem Drunk Blokes podcast. We will be coming back. We will be coming back with regular people. We will be coming back with some of the old faces you've never heard for a long time. Voice guy.
Oh, yeah, I'm not falling for this one again.
Huh?
Not falling for this one again.
No, we've got things lined up. We just need to find a laptop. If anyone out there wants to send us a laptop through the ether or just wing it out of their window and see if it reaches us, we're happy for that. But you will hear us again soon. Maybe not next week, maybe not the week after. Possibly the week after that.
But soon, and for the rest of your lives.
We are carrying on, unfortunately for you listeners. Tell your friends, tell everyone. You can reach us at Dem Drunk Blokes on Twitter, Dem Drunk Blokes on Facebook. You're really not helping this fucking... Do you want to say something else?
I'll be good.
No, he's alright. He's behaving himself now. You can find us at Dem Drunk Blokes on Twitter. You can find us at Dem Drunk Blokes on Facebook. You can find us at Dem Drunk Blokes on Instagram, but no one actually watches that, so it doesn't matter. You can email us at demdrunkblokes@gmail.com. Or you can just ring me, or whatever. I don't care. It was nice to see you all again. Dalek, do you want to say goodbye?
You just snorted. You just did a proper...
Say goodbye, Dalek.
Good night, everybody.
Goodbye. Morning on. Who cares? See you soon.